What's going on, Dove Chasers? Today is a very special day. Today is the day we're finally installing an upgraded clutch on the Mk6 GTI. For those of you with manual GTIs, you unfortunately know that the stock clutch isn't good for when adding power to your cars. I think the stock rating is up to 300 foot-pounds, which is fine if you're staying stock. But if you plan on modding your car and making more power, that is definitely not gonna do. So for my Mk6, we have the Southbend Stage 2 daily clutch. It's good for up to 400 or 450 foot-pounds of torque. I think 400, 450 might be the endurance. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna go ahead and do today. As you can probably tell, we're not in Vincent's garage. We actually have a good friend of ours who's allowing us to use his shop to go ahead and do this install, so we're not breaking our backs on the garage floor. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Hi, Vince.
Hello.
What are we doing? Are you excited?
No.
So what have you done so far? You've removed the filter.
What would be disconnecting airbox, and now preparing to remove battery.
Cool. Ooh, our custom bolt job on the battery held up nicely. For now, which is good. Just like that.
Yeah.
Nice. I guess we have to remove that plastic tray.
Oh yeah, we get to remove everything.
Alright, so I went ahead and took off both the wheels on the front passenger, front driver. What are you working on?
Starting other parts, but we just finished completely removing, or at least fully disconnecting all of this shifting linkage stuff.
Gotcha.
Now we start going back and forth between under the car and above the car.
Oh, fun. What did you need to get in the fuse box?
Have it disconnect this guy from here, because you have that the battery tray slips through here, and you can't just remove it. This is holding it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. So we got the car up now. A few things we just did up top. We just disconnected the bleeder valve, right, Vince?
Yeah, you could say that.
So we just disconnected the bleeder valve, and now we're trying to undo the starter bolt, which can't really see right now. We got to get the under paneling off, but that is the next step. One thing to note, because you undo the bleeder valve, some of your brake fluid is going to kind of drip, so we recommend to get a little bit of .4 fluid from like AutoZone or wherever, just to have, so that way once you're all done with this, you can bleed the clutch and you won't have to worry about losing too much fluid. So Vince, let's go ahead and taking off the under paneling. So this is the little job we did. Really far little bleeder valve, but it's still leaking, so this is why. Probably should get some .4 fluid. Vince, what are you still trying to get at the starter bolt?
He's getting the other one, but yeah, so you got to push back this plastic piece, but it doesn't want to go back.
So you got the little connection out.
Oh, and that's
right?
off. That guy's off. Yes.
So does that whole like cylinder, the starter, actually have to come off?
Yes, it will. Because both the bolts go all the way through the starter, all the way through the transmission, and into the block.
Gotcha. Alright, so we were struggling to remove the little shift linkage bracket.
What's that guy's name? 6'9"? That guy uses more kindergarten level language than I've heard of anyone. Like, he used all 3-letter words. Big, bad, big, sad. Like, it's the stupidest shit I've ever heard.
So we thought we had to remove the bracket, but actually we just shifted it into reverse, and now it's completely out of the way, which is nice. And now Vince is starting on just just removing all the big bolts?
Yeah, the top-sided big bolts. There's still a lot to do on the bottom side, but...
Gotcha. Alright, mechanic. So...
both 18 bolts are out, starter falls out,
Nice.
and now we disconnect the 2 drive axles.
You can look in there. You see the... Yep, there's the flywheel and the pressure plate. So now, what did you just say?
Disconnect both of the drive axles.
Gotcha. Do you want me to do one while you do the other?
Nope, because we don't have enough sockets for that.
Gotcha. Okay. Making progress. Alright, so finishing getting the axle out, or the driver axle out. Vincent had a very creative idea. If you can't, well actually no, you need to do this regardless, but if you get like a breaker bar and you put all the lugs in, and while someone is undoing the axle, the other person is applying the opposite force with the breaker bar, it actually works really well. So driver's side is out, and now we got to move on to passenger. All right, passenger, drive axle unbolted, driver's side unbolted and
Pushing out of the way.
Pushing out of the way. See in there. You can't, oh, there's nothing in there. Cool. So after you push the axles out of the way, what's the next step, Vince?
Probably then just disconnecting this thing. That guy.
That thing?
Yeah, that thing.
Okay.
And then I gotta take a look back at what I'm looking off of.
Gotcha. Alright, so we got the thingy that connects the subframe to the transmission. So what now?
Now we kind of go once again back and forth between up and down, and now we're actually going to start supporting the engine with a brace.
Sounds like fun.
Somewhat.
So is there any other things that we have to do?
Yes, but not yet.
Oh.
There are things that have to be done in a specific order, but there are a couple of things.
Gotcha.
Like, for now, pretty sure now we go down.
Okay. Everything, well for now, we're basically gonna have to keep going back and forth between down below and up top.
Yep.
So right now we got our lovely engine support bar from Pittsburgh.
Harbor Freight. Woo-woo.
Quality brand. So now we have to support the engine. So Vincent is doing that. And how do you do that, Vince?
Bop, bop, bop.
Engine mounts and a chain.
Chain. Maybe no chain.
Maybe no chain. Alright, so we actually were able just to get the little...
Once you lift this side up, yeah, so this one will go in no problem. But then this one was too short, like the bar was too short. So once you get that one in and start lifting it up a little bit, then you'll be able to fit that one in. And then just to give it that extra support.
Sweet. So now, basically the purpose of doing that is because now we got to remove the engine / trans mount that's over here.
Yep.
This big hunk of metal block. It's got to come out. So now we're going to start doing that. Alright, so after some good commentary and weightlifting session, we got the top 3 out.
Now I get the bottom 3.
Now we got to get the bottom 3 or 2?
3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, 3. So we'll be right back. Alright, so Vincent used his fancy Milwaukee.
Yeah, maybe we should have done that for the whole thing.
Yeah, maybe we should have.
But it's also safer to do it by hand, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah,
Depends on what angle you get at.
that's true. So yeah, got all those out. So this mount is fully disconnected. Do we have to like actually take it out?
I'm pretty sure we scooted out.
Okay.
Once. Yeah.
Blast the thing with brake parts cleaner.
It's like a genie's lamp. What's your wish? I wish for no more check engine lights. Yeah, I can't do that. Can't promise that one, buddy.
All right, so we got the transmission supported right now. Now Vince is gonna work on the final bolts.
4 bolts.
4 bolts.
You got 1, 2, wait. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 all the way back up here.
Okay. And then it will be
separated. Well, not separate. It'll be no longer held together.
But I'm saying it'll be kind of a fun activity to try and get this thing, birth it.
You know what we should do?
What?
We might want to be able to maybe set up the camera to try to do a long B-roll of us struggling to remove it.
Play some like happy music over it.
That might be the move.
True, I can do that.
What went here?
You know, my dad was telling me, he's like, so when you, cause I'm going downtown after this.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, I better not get a call with you stranded on 290 with like half your transmission blown out a half mile behind you.
Oh, those are 16s, okay. Yeah, I don't think that'll happen. But I mean, there's always a possibility for anything, I suppose.
Nothing's impossible.
I mean, shit, there's the possibility that my transmission could just fall out. I don't know.
It's true.
I love that these aren't even held in, though. Like, the torque is so light on them.
That's good.
You lose. Wow. Really loose. Do you ever have clutch work done?
Not while I've owned the car.
Anybody else? Like, do you know from previously?
I don't think prior either.
Weird. Maybe that's just actually the torque spec for these. That they're that loose.
Well, I mean, good. Yeah. Could be.
It is what it is.
It is what it is.
Hey, it hasn't fallen out yet, so I guess they were they were doing their part.
Big bolts. All right, so we are attempting to get out or move the axles out of the way, basically. But we're discovering we're probably going to have to remove the housings that they go into on the transmission. Just because they're kind of being annoying.
Well, just this side.
Just this side. The other side is fine. Won't focus really. No, you won't. Alright, so finally got the hub.
Yeah, I think they call it a flange. That's what
Flange
they
that
refer to
the axle goes into.
Yeah.
If you plan on doing this yourself, what we did, so we wouldn't have to remove the axle fully, is just undid these bolts that hold the lower control arm to the wheel assembly, and then you just manhandle the whole wheel assembly out of the way. Yeah. And you should be able to slide this from here down like that, and then out. And then just hold it to zip ties with your struts. Is it ready to come out?
Just about, yeah.
Okay.
Should be it.
All right. Now let's berth it.
Yep. Okay, so we have to push it out. Matthew, okay, I'm holding it. If you want to look over here to see how far we have to come out.
Oh.
It's got to come out a pretty good way.
Yeah, it does.
So it's going to go... It's
back.
It's gonna go a little bit back, but then this part is gonna have to lift upwards, so it's gonna be turned, so it can go above this kind of, and then it comes through there.
Gotcha. Okay. Vincent's looking at instructions, but we just had a quick little lunch break, and now let the transmission sit in brake parts cleaner and some of this purple goop degreaser. You can see some nice sludge that's coming out from years of crud just sticking on it. But yeah, so now we're going to move to taking out the stock flywheel clutch pressure plate. A nice little blue color. Don't know what that's from.
Hold on, before we go away. Oh God. Ready?
What?
Maybe we will go away. Might be an 8. I want to try an 8 first. Hold on. They're messing with us. Ow. Okay, that won't come. So you have to check for this to see if it really is an 8. It's not. Okay, so it's a 9 size. So it's a 12-point socket instead of a regular 6-point socket. And it's a size 9, which is annoying.
Okay.
Because it's the only 12-point socket you'll need for this.
Are they like that on the...
So
Oh,
remember that.
by the way, here's the kit for the Southbend.
No, they actually are nice to us and actually give us
Hex.
bolts. Or, yeah, standard 6 points.
Yeah. So,
Make sure you have a 9-point socket.
make sure you have a 9
9mm 12-point socket.
to get out the stock one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got the alignment tool and some, the flywheel bolts, I believe that's what those are. And then we got the slave cylinder and throwout bearing and the clutch assembly. So now Vince is going to work on getting that out. Alright, Vince just pulled out the stock clutch and pressure plate. He's still working on the flywheel, but while he's doing that, we can take a look. It's not in too bad of shape. Definitely worn, especially from adding a little bit more power with the tune. Pressure plate doesn't look that bad either. Yeah. Now he's working on getting the flywheel out. So here's the new clutch, flywheel, and pressure plate laid out. Vince, you just measured, or weighed it.
Yeah.
You said the lighting's bad. Come in here. There we go. You said
The Southbend one, just the flywheel, that's all we're measuring. That was 19.95 pounds. And then the stock dual mass was 28.8 or something. It's like just about 10 pounds of difference.
10 pounds difference, so the car will basically rev faster. So when going to shift, the RPMs will drop faster, or if you rev it in neutral, it'll go up faster, which
That'll be nice for you when you're trying to shoot flames.
I'm trying to shoot flames, exactly. All right, flywheel, clutch, pressure plate. It's all in, torque down. Just brought the transmission back in from drying outside. It looks really, really good. The slave cylinder and throwout bearing are reinstalled, torque down.
Brain freeze.
That we need to do.
No, that's
No?
it.
So now transmission goes back in.
It's just gonna magically go back in.
All right, cue time lapse of the three of us struggling to put it back in. We got it in. I forgot to hit record, so sorry about that. But however, whatever process you take to get it out, if you just redo that to put it in, it goes in a lot easier than taking it out. So, but it's in. Now we can start putting everything back together.
All right. So normally this is sitting in the beginning. It sits on your starter, so it's gonna be sitting here the entire time, right?
Yeah.
If you literally just take out this, God, no, I can't get it out. This little guy, and then push this to the side and lift this guy upwards and upside down, and tuck him up here. it makes everything so much easier. It doesn't get caught on anything, and just that definitely helped out.
So much easier. Our friend is polishing his A3 in there, so sorry for any noise that you hear. But yeah, all right, it's in.
It's in.
Reassembly time. All right, so the passenger axle is in. Just a little bit of advice: get the, what is this hub called? The part that connects.
I think they referred to it as like CV flange or something.
Basically, the part that goes into the transmission, not that's part of your axle or what the axle bolts up to. Put that in before you put the trans back in. That'll save you like easily 30 minutes of a headache. Let's see what else. We put the starter back in, and we already put in some of the transmission bolts.
All the lower ones are back in, but they're just barely snugged up.
Yeah.
We haven't torqued them yet or anything, just in the event.
So now we have to still put in more transmission bolts, put in the driver's side axle, and then torque everything down. All right, so we just lowered the car back down. We got all of the axles, or not all, both of the axles back in and torqued down. Definitely the worst part about this job.
Yeah,
by
honestly.
far.
I think even on my car, like, this just sucks.
Anything you have to do with the axles on these cars just sucks.
Because you gotta make sure, it has to be so perfectly aligned. And then, like, you think it is, and then you start going, and then it's like, you can tell it's not, and then you gotta pull it out, and then you gotta redo it.
Exactly. Like, as I said off camera, taking out the transmission and putting it back in was definitely easier. So now we are back up top. We are going to put in the transmission bolts first.
Oh.
But Vince is touching the shift linkage, so I'm
yeah,
guessing
making
he's
sure
gonna
it's
do that.
aligned right. Yeah, that's how it'll
Down
go.
there. And then, yeah, we'll put in the top bolts, and then we can start torquing everything down for the transmission.
Yeah.
We'll have to reconnect the throttle body pipe to the intercooler piping.
That's like the least of my worries right now.
Yeah, I'm just kind of going over everything that we need to do. Shift linkage.
The entire transmission support.
Transmission mount right there. Battery intake. We're making progress. So
We're making progress.
that's always good. All right, so while Vincent is bolting these down,
Yeah, yeet.
sorry that we haven't been kind of guiding with torque specs. We'll put all of that in the description below. But right now we are torquing down
all of the lower transmission to block bolts.
Yes. So we got
So fully sealing it up.
the two bolts that connect the starter to the transmission. Those are both 59 foot-pounds. If this will focus or not, that's cool.
Put a light on it, silly goose. Maybe.
It is still
Nice,
not
nice,
focusing.
nice.
Come on. There we go. Okay, yep.
Okay, there
so
it
that
is.
bolt, and then the one up top, both 59. Then this one right here. Jesus, you are doing horrible, camera.
Do you have a manual?
I don't think so. 30,
30.
30, 30, and then there's
and
one.
Swing around. Because, I mean, you can see it really easily.
59.
Yep.
And then at the top,
They were both 59.
yeah.
So there should only be 1 and 2, and then 3 you'll be able to get to, which is the top starter bolt, which then is 59. Yeah, so
And
all
then-
3 of them are 59.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the transmission,
The transmission mounts,
yes, were 44.
all 6 of those, so 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. Those are all 44 foot-pounds, and then an additional 90 degrees, which is difficult.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what we're doing right now. And like I said, I know we haven't been kind of saying it because, like, I know we got caught up in the moment with the stupid axles. We were just getting pissed at them. But all of the torque specs will be in the description down below. So now we're gonna go ahead and finish torquing up these bolts down here. Probably connect up the intake pipe or throttle body pipe with intercooler. and then we'll go back up, do the shift linkage and all the stuff up there. All right, so we just did what Vince has been calling the pendulum.
Yeah, dog bone. I know you buy a dog bone mount for it.
Dog bone insert.
Yeah, whatever that is. But pendulum, I guess. Kind of swings back.
This one was the big boy.
So what we did was 34.
Yeah, those two were 34.
It was like 34, 34, and then do this guy at 74.
Yep.
And then come back and do 90 degrees, 90 degrees, 90 degrees.
Yep. And now you're putting in like that heat shield thing.
Yeah, a little. I guess heat shield. I'm not really sure what this is referred to as.
It just goes around the axle.
Yeah, and I mean it's just like snug.
Yeah.
That's it.
Do we want to move on to what do they say is next?
I'm trying to get to the next part.
Because I'm thinking we could finish up the starter and then do the intercooler piping to throttle body pipe.
Probably.
I think I'm getting the wind from the fan. Be right back.
God, what am I doing?
Alright, so
What's going on, Dub Chasers?
what's going on, Dub Chasers? I don't remember. I think we were under the car.
We were under the
last
car
update.
and did the dog bone.
That's right. So now car is lowered. We connected the shift linkage. I think we might have already done that, shown that though.
I think so.
The throttle body pipe and intercooler piping are reconnected down below.
From there, then it should be. Then we finished up that guy. Put all the pretty much reconnected all the starter stuff.
Yep.
Ground bracket on top. Then you put in the bleeder block.
Yep.
Specifically for that bleeder block.
There's a little notch on the bottom of it.
The notch that sticks out towards the transmission or into the transmission.
Yep. Otherwise it'll leak.
Yep. And you'll know it right away.
Yep. So now we are putting in the battery, and then after the battery goes in, we can bleed the clutch, and then once that's done, I believe just intake. Well, and under.
It'd be the under paneling stuff, but yeah.
And intake. We're almost done, and it is.
Don't worry about it.
8:45, and we started at.
It just felt like
11.
I still have the stopwatch on my phone.
Was it running during our break period?
Yes.
We had like an hour and a half.
Yeah, but that was like an hour, so we.
Break period.
That's when I was just stabbing myself.
The knife?
No, nothing. I don't know what you're talking about. We have to say with YouTube guidelines.
Oh my god.
I did nothing wrong.
So yeah, we're gonna put the battery in, and then we will do the bleeding process.
Your plastic cover, starter solenoid, connect the reverse light switch, the ground cable, install clutch bleeder block. Hold on, my dad texted me. He's worried.
Anyways, we put the battery back in, so now we have to bleed the clutch. So pretty much it's similar to bleeding brakes. Vincent or probably Vincent will be watching the bleeder valve, and then I'm going to be inside of the car manually pressing the clutch pedal all the way to the floor with my hand, and then slowly depressing it. And we're going to do that until basically bubbles stop coming out of the bleeder valve and it's just constant clear fluid. And then we'll just top off any fluid from when we spilled before, and also fluid that will be lost from bleeding. So Vincent's going to just make sure we know what to do, and we're going to go ahead and do that. So we will be right back after the clutch is bled. All right. Tough.
Well, it wouldn't have been tough.
So the last clip before this one was we were going to start bleeding the clutch, and we did that. But we were going off of ECS's guidelines, and
they don't explain the full bleeding process correctly.
Yeah. So
because in the end of it all, it's you bleed it like you would bleed your brake system. So clutch in, so crack it loose, clutch in slowly so you're not squirting the person, and then person tightens it, then you let off the clutch, then the person loosens it, you push in the clutch, person tightens it, then you let off. Do it like you would if you were doing brakes. If you follow ECSs like I did, it's just straight up stupid.
I think the reason why they put it like that is they may have assumed if you have a bleeder, like something you can apply, like set to a
Like
certain
their
pressure.
bleeder, their thing.
Yeah, their thing, where you can apply a
Probably.
certain pressure, so that way when you're depressing the clutch,
It doesn't.
automatically
yeah,
closes.
Yeah.
So if you do it like you're normally doing a brake bleeding job, you'll be totally fine.
Be good.
Because the issue we were having is I would push the clutch down, it would take like no. In fact, it wanted to be down. Like,
Yeah,
I
that was
pressed it,
weird. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it like slammed to the floor,
It jumps.
and then I'd like pull it
Yeah.
back. But that was the hiccup that we've been solving for the last
2 hours probably.
hour and a half. So we could have been done like an hour and a half ago, but that was a hiccup. So that makes sure you're bleeding properly, and then also the axles. The axles are the biggest pain.
Yeah.
When taking the transmission out, just make sure they're both disconnected. You know, if you can disconnect both hub assemblies from your lower control arms, that will save you time, because then you can swing the axles out from under either the engine side where the belts are, or the transmission side on the driver's side. And then when you put the transmission back in, make sure you have both hubs on first and torque them down, because we had to disconnect the transmission and try to pull it back to get the driver's side on, and it was
That just costed us probably what, like 30 minutes probably. Like for that whole
probably like
for that whole
45 to an hour.
Yeah.
So in total, including our 2-hour break, this took almost 12 hours. Vince had a stopwatch running.
Yeah, but this is also including our lunch.
11 hours,
11:40.
40 minutes. So we had like an hour and a half lunch. So you're looking at about a 10-hour job.
If you don't have those hiccups, like if you don't have those 2 major hiccups, I mean that probably cuts an hour at least.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, definitely a day job, if not a 2. Like if you don't have a lift, honestly make it a 2-day job. It'll just be a lot easier.
plan for multiple days.
Because then you won't be stuck in 12 hours or more trying to do this.
Yeah.
But the results are definitely going to be worth it. You guys don't know yet, but I've been running a Stratified E-Tune, which we'll make a separate video on the car, and that's kind of like the main reason why we had to do this clutch job, is because the clutch has been slipping, the stock one. So that was kind of the whole main reason about it. But yeah, I think that's it.
That's it.
One final thing I wanted to add though, most of these videos have been install videos, which is kind of like the main thing that we've been doing, installing mods in our cars. But as we're kind of approaching at least
Full bolt-on stage.
full bolt-on stage, kind of like at the end of where we want it to be right now, we're gonna start different types of videos coming out. So I know in a lot of our videos we said, you know, we'll make an update video. That video is actually gonna end up coming out probably after this one. We're just gonna run
And then
through.
just be one giant.
That's gonna be one giant. We're just gonna run through all the parts we did, all the videos, see where the things are at now, what broke, what didn't break, all that. And then the video after that is gonna be a very special video, because Vincent's car is almost done without bags, and we are going to do a feature video on that. So
Very nice.
subscribe if you want to see that. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Hopefully you didn't struggle too much with us. We'll check back in with the update video. Thanks for watching. Like if you liked it, dislike if you didn't, tell us why. We'll make sure to answer all the questions you have below in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.
Yup.